Good morning. Thank you for joining us for our morning motivation presented by the FBC Ministerial staff.
My name is Minister Terry Scott, coming to you with some words of encouragement. I want to talk to you about positioning your butt in the right place. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone who's going through some trials and tribulations, and you're encouraging them with uplifting words, and they respond by saying, "But life is hard, but it's very difficult." And this is their response to your encouraging words. Now, they're in agreement with you about what you're saying, about the words of encouragement, but then they end by saying, "But it's so hard." Now, for the record, I am not opposed to anyone spending the necessary amount of time identifying the hardship or the problem in order to know what you're working with. But if you see the problem as bigger than your answer, you have given the problem more attention and authority than you've given the answer. Psalms 24 verse 1, "The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein." Now that tells me that everything belongs to God. God is bigger than your biggest trial and tribulation. At times, ungodly people appear to triumph over the righteous, and it makes us scratch our heads, wondering why the Lord doesn't intervene. But the truth is, He often uses the wicked to accomplish His purpose. That brings me to how you position your butt in the right place. Remember how Joseph faced one hard-hearted individual after another? His brothers sold him into slavery, and he was shipped off to Egypt. His master's wife accused him of an unspeakable crime. And even those he helped, like Pharaoh's cupbearer, forgot about him. But once the story of Joseph's life was written in full, it was clear that everyone who harmed or neglected him contributed to God's plan. The Lord used all the trials in bringing Joseph to power at the right moment and to spare his family and others from famine. It was in Genesis 15 verse 20 where Joseph positioned his butt in the right place, and that made all the difference. "But as for you, you thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring to pass as it is this day, to save much people alive." James Montgomery Boyce wrote that if you understand those two words, "but God," they will save your soul. If you recall them daily and live by them, they will transform your life completely. Just two words. They are short, simple, one-syllable words that we don't often think about putting together. And yet, when they are paired and placed properly, they remind us of a truth bigger than any trial, any trouble, or any turmoil in which we find ourselves. But God. In grammatical terms, but functions as a conjunction joining one thought with another. Each time but appears, a contrast qualification or counter-argument follows. In other words, the second part of the sentence is going to be different from the first. However, in order for the latter to be better than the previous, you must position your butt in the right place. A big misconception about the Christian life is that by becoming a disciple of Christ makes them immune to life's trials and tribulations. Why would a loving God allow believers to go through such things? Such things as death of a child, disease, injury to ourselves and our loved ones, financial hardships, worry, or fear. Surely if He loved us, He would take all these things away from us. The Bible clearly teaches that in Romans 8 verse 28, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to His purpose." So that must mean that the trials and tribulations He allows in our lives are part of the working together of all things for good. Therefore, for the believer, all trials and tribulations must have a divine purpose. This little phrase, "but God," occurs multiple times in the Bible. Each time these two words appears, change is about to occur. That is why it is important to position your butt in the right place. In each case, it's the difference between a human perspective and God's viewpoint. What looks impossible to us is not only possible, but easy for God. When you have a but God moment in your life, what follows that moment will be drastically different from what came before it. The proper positioning of your but God changes everything. You think one thing, but God knows another. You feel trapped, but God can free you. You see no way out, but God provides a way. You hunger for more, but God satisfies you. You fear change, but God alone is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Whatever your first half of your conversation might be, if you as a believer will position your but at the right or at the ladder with but God, then you have placed your but in the most advantageous position you can. 2 words, the divine pivot point that changes everything by placing your but in the right place. But God. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you for joining us for another moment of inspiration. It is our prayer that you have been motivated, encouraged, and inspired by today's word.